couldn't get his hands on that Echo. Incredibly potent pick. Got it added to the mix there. So for top lane, we're looking at Trundle, Maokai, Poppy, and that Echo.
Very likely that these two players will pick it up as well. But we've got the first bans coming through. There's the Twist of Fate ban, actually something we were looking at that might be a contested pick in this one.
I'm actually not sure if it is that likely, because I wonder if these teams have been incorporated in their plays, in their scrims, because they've been on this patch for so long. But if not, neither side really picks it up, or may just be able to ignore it.
Of course, being on the red side gives H2K that opportunity to run TF. I know he's got not the most favorable of matchups, Crapper. We were actually discussing that pick just before we came on air. Thresh once again taken away. Thresh was banned quite a lot last week by OG as well when they were playing against UOL, and the Azir removed from the table. So possibility for Echo still there. Poppy still up there as well. So had a great performance on Poppy last week.
We just see the difference between blue side and purple side here. You have the liberty to get some of these niche picks out on blue side. We saw Kasink's Thresh be very, almost useless in the Vitality game, but since Origen still feared against Vander, they had the opportunity to ban it. But on the red side, you're forced to maybe hit some of the stronger power picks. You know, Alistar is still an S tier pick. Mithy came out with his left foot. Sivir is tier 180 carry by far. And then, do you play Z or not? Are you going to play the Ryze counter pick game? We'll need to see how that evolves in the series.
Yeah, first pick's just going to be the Lucian though. Both of these AD carries, the most played champions Lucian, so secure that one early. Kalista's still up. In fact, pretty much every AD carry is still up apart from that Sivir.
Yeah, this is a purple side rotation where you can do a lot of things. I personally like seeing Lissandra come out here. Maybe even just the Echo too. I think they're just really strong picks. I wonder where the top lane meta's at in this series. We'll need to see how that evolves. If not, conventional Trundle Lissandra will be a good rotation here.
Absolutely no fast responses here from H2K. Taking their time. Conventional picks or not? That is the question. And
hey,
OG are not revealing their cards yet. Echo Braum, no real surprises. Maybe the Braum a touch, but with Alistar gone, still a great fallback pick.
With Alistar gone and you're picking up, yes, it's a tanky pick, but it's not like a rock, this Echo, you know, it's not a perma frontliner. I think it's fine picking up something that can block some projectiles like the Braum. You do give up your Lissandra priority and we'll need to counter pick it. As for the junglers, they weren't really contested. Nidalee is out, but the likes of Graves are still available. Elise is still on the table. Kindred has seen, or has risen up in the ranks of jungle though. The incredible 1v1 potential and just late game damage output and the influence on teamfights has shown that Kindred has been liked more and more by some of these teams.
Yeah, and because this is 6-6 as well, this is not 6-7 where you can still cast your ultimate on allies, so that's still a big deal when it comes to these games. Like Amazing's job on Kindred last week was literally just ulting Sven when he jumped into the enemy team, and that was his role. He did least damage on the team because Sven was doing all of it.
Yeah, the engaged Lucian was the best Lucian, as it proved out. Corki locked in for Forgiven. It's actually been one of his most played champions, but it is still technically a flex for Ryu, depending on what else they're going to lock in here. You'd assume the jungler to give the counter pick option to Ryu.
Yeah, you assume the jungler, and then which jungler do you want Elise to Kindred? I think Graves is slightly stronger. I think Jankos is also just a good Graves player, and it gives you another tanky element in these fights. Obviously, we all know against these magic-heavy compositions, Moss, Terax is being built on this Graves. So you have two guys that can soak up some damage, and then in that chaos in between, Oduamne can shine on that Echo top. Really to see how well he has mastered this pick. It is new, but it is showing an incredibly high win rate over in solo queue already. Was on Reddit today, like apparently 57.5% win rate for a champion. It's just a pain to play against. It is so annoying to deal with Echo. Tanks with Grasp was already annoying. Echo just makes it even worse.
And we also had Corki picked up for the mid lane on Ryu, so no real surprise there. I was going to ask how far down the priority has Poppy dropped, because she's been repeatedly nerf battered like over the last couple patches, but it's still a really good top lane pick, and we'll just be locked in here with OG.
I think she sits in a tier right below, I think Echo is tier 1, and then everything below that, like there's a tier right below that where you can put Poppy, Trundle if you're Europe and you're not Korea, where like some pundits and players just agree that QSS just is the demise of Trundle. Over in you, certain top laners say, you know what, QSS not that influential. We need to see obviously who's right. Safe guess, Korea.
Yeah. So second question here, Crepo. As a Bard player, when do you pick Bard? Because it seems kind of random in my eyes, because we see a lot of Bards, sometimes it does well, sometimes it does bad, but it just appears randomly.
You can pretty much pick him into anything. The only limiting factor I would say is whether you have enough front line. Sometimes your support needs to be the front line. However, with Alistar and Braum off the table, there's not much else you could pick. So if you need to pick a range support and you know how to play him, Bard combined with double TP and like a Kindred to buy you time can give you access to so many creative plays. So now we need to look at what Origen have drafted you. They have the standard double TP composition here. 1-3-1, you put Bard, Lucian, and Kindred in the mid lane. And you now have access to even more creative plays with that Magical Journey, with Tempered Fate to buy some time. So this is a super strong comp, not in the generic sense for split pushing and get those towers down on the side lane. No, Lissandra and Poppy want to pressure the side lanes and then collapse in the mid lane, make a pick or start a fight somehow.
Going to be exceptionally difficult because it's a Kassadin that's now been locked in for Ryu. There's a lot of dashes and dives here on the side of H2K. We saw Kassadin pulled out last week by Fnatic and it was successful because Vitality didn't punish the weak early game. But H2K have got a slightly more well-rounded comp this time around.
Yeah, but at least for H2K they can swap it again. They're doing the exact same thing, 1-3-1. I think Echo with some ganks can outscale the Poppy here. The Kassadin that does well in the side lane. If he does play the teleport, but it looks like Ryu is going for an aggressive counter pick matchup and see if he can punish the trades on Power Ryu. Could be interesting with that Ignite.
Interesting.
Flash Ignite on that Kassadin. We'll find out if it's going to be another Kassa win or not as H2K are set up on stage. The coaches just about to shake hands and walk off. Nico the Pico shaking hands with one of Europe's most successful coaches, Prolly. Lineups are locked in. Will H2K advance to their first ever European final, or can Origen take down one of Europe's best teams?
If I could choose, I would rather play against G2.
We're basically the same teams, but they are just better at not making mistakes.
Depending on who we play mid, our style changes a lot.
I think they're pretty readable.
Power Evil is also good at being on side lane, as Pege is, but Pege is not as good at playing mid lane mages.
We have Ryu. He's the gem, because he's smart and cute. We love him and he's good.
It doesn't surprise me that we face them in the semis.
And we are into game 1 of this best of 5 with Origen and H2K taking to the Rift. This one should be a series that will go down in relative history.
I certainly hope so, Pulse. And of course, after all my rant about Flash Ignite, last second swap, Ryu's gone to the teleport mid laner.
Just go out and finish. Yeah, that makes sense though. The teleport allows you to get access to the 1-3-1. And as we hear, the crowd still favors Origen. Send out some feelers online too and just ask the fans. There's a lot of loyal Origen fans here, or even Fnatic ones that expect both Fnatic and Origen to meet in the finals.
Again?
Again.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll happen. We'll need to see though. For this game, looking at some of the matchups here, I think H2K will want a lane swap. Braum Corki loses lane to Lucian Bard. And Echo into Poppy depends on who gets the jungle influence.
Let's find out how the lane shenanigans play out. Odo and Forgiven passing 2 ships in the night as Origen are already in position in lane, so...
Yeah, they got revealed here. I think Miffy's going for the Bard stop too. Something I endlessly rant about, so we're not going to go into it. The general detail is that Bard does not get much value from a camp, and giving the XP to your AD carry doesn't give you the value either. So it's best to stop them at Gromp, as well as scout out a potential lane swap. So both teams here find out early that we're in a lane swap, but H2K traditionally have shown complete mastery of that lane swap.
Yeah, especially when you take a look at the average gold leads before 10 minutes. Origen behind, H2K traditionally ahead. And then you start looking at how they continue to play out. Vander being very cheeky, getting a lot of trades and value out of poking amazing.
It is a game of seconds now. Both these teams know the ideal flow of a lane swap, and anything you can do to slow down your opponent, speed up your process, making sure you don't lose any creeps here. Both lanes seem to be pushing on third wave and grouping up with their top laner to then get access to the tower. We can start comparing some of these lane swap qualities. No AoE really on Braum, as opposed to maybe if you have like Poppy support or anything, Janna with a tornado, anything with or Karma support. That is way better because you want to tank the creeps now. Look where Sven is standing. He's going to tank these creeps, and hopefully your trio has as much AoE as possible. Poppy Q, Lucian Q, Bard AoE, to then get those creeps down very easily.
So it looks like OG are probably going to take this tower a little bit faster, but it's really cool to see 2 teams who are really not going to make the mistakes that we see going into like phase 1 of the lane swap yet, Trevor, but usually that happens in phase 2. But we see some teams which make mistakes in phase 1, which is just the simple stuff. You go for the lane swap, you take the tower, and then we actually get to see these teams make those small adaptations.
Yeah, luckily this time around, we're in the semi-finals as well, so these are theoretically 2 of the best teams in Europe.
Sure.
Mastered some of those basics and early game decisions. So as will be gifted the gold as is customary, and mirrored in the top lane by Odo.
Yeah, we saw, for example, the Valkyrie there used by Forgiven level 2 on the creeps. It's these minor details. Using the buckler to finish creeps off if you're Poppy, like all these little things you want to use to maximize your lane swap.
Small itemization differences already. Forgiven's picked up the Mana Crystal. Sven's gone for the Cull. Slightly different item paths though. Is
I mean, Forgiven's not a Cull player.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's just it.
Yeah, I mean, like, of all the players, well, mid lane was getting chunked down from Ryu, but yeah, Forgiven will not pick that one up. Miffy, it was looking for the Cosmic Binding through the minion, try and get the stun onto Odo, but Sven will carry on farming, which is pretty much what he wants to do in this scenario, especially with that call, and they'll just be pushing up in the top lane.
Yeah, both top laners going to base, rejoin their team after bouncing the wave. We saw some of the devastating effects it can have if you do not bounce the wave. The latest example of that was Apex versus TDK over in the North American Promotion Series, where a lane wasn't bounced and suddenly the game was over and Apex kind of tilted off the triple kill that followed. So it's really important that you adhere to conventional lane swap strategy, or that you really understand what you're doing if you do shy away from that.
All right, let's find out what the decisions are. Vander got a cheeky Winter's Bite onto Soaz that delayed his back and just slowed down the tempo. You can see Soaz just leaving the base in the minimap, whereas Odo's already jumped into lane. Sven and Miffy, they're on the top lane tower, equal by Forgiven and Vander down bottom.
So we see a complete repeat of what we call phase 1. This is where the decision tree kind of sparks open, and where you can, while the team on the top side of the map will get Rift Herald with their jungler and support most of the time, the team on the bottom side of the map could choose to maybe push for tier 2 if they're quicker, bounce and get some farm to to top laner, or get access to a dragon. But we've seen Europe really shy away from these dragons. LCK on the other hand loves their dragons. So we need to see what H2K does, because probably as a coach, it's one of the smartest for me lane swap and just macro coaches. So I'm going to follow his lead.
Well, a couple of things to keep track of. Kindred was able to get the crab, which means that that will be the first stack going over. I believe that's the second one. So actually was on the right side that he really wanted it to be on. And as we get into this, we'll also have a couple items being picked up. Specifically, Power V was picked up the Negatron Cloak. I often see the Sandra go for the blasting one first, because it allows you to go into either Rod or Abyssal Scepter, whereas this one tells me he's probably going to go for the Abyssal Scepter first, or just go straight for the Rod after that. But it's just a slight difference in itemization, which is curious since he's not against an AP jungler, but he is against an Echo as well.
Yeah, just what makes sense the most is that Kassadin lane, you always want to queue your opponent. You never queue the creeps. Lissandra lane, you just want to AFK push, so you don't care how much damage you deal to the Kassadin. You let the minions do the work for you. So Power of Evil just wants to take as little poke as he can from Ryu while repetitively pushing in the wave. I think that is the logic behind this early Negatron. Avoid getting all in, play the push game, and then have influence impact in other lanes by either teleporting or roaming.
Now, both teleports are down for Power of Evil and Ryu as it stands. CS numbers are very even as they can be. Soaz is just minorly behind Odo Wamno when it comes to levels, but take a look at the push that is being set up. Amazing on screen with that Doom's Eve, the Rift Herald buff, should be able to meet Sven and Mithy fairly soon, and Odo's currently alone.
No 4-man mirror here. Usually you see a 4-man mirror because Echo can soak a little bit of experience, but then has to obviously back off. We're seeing it looking at a 4-man Herald push into 1 and 3v0 at the other side. Adaptation from Amazing though, as he's flanking in the mid lane. Looking to catch out Ryu potentially.
And the flash and the lockdown and the ultimate. Amazing's coming in with the damage, and that's just the first blood going over to Origen.
Made it look easy. The action's not over yet, Pulse. Odo throws down the parallel convergence. The stack and the tower pressure's actually in favor of H2K. They will secure the inner turret, and if we catch a glimpse of that bottom lane, has Origen been able to equalize it? Not just yet. So a kill for Origen, a tower for H2K, and H2K are pushing onto the inhibitors.
Yeah, the plot thickens here. The kill trade cost them momentum and push on the bottom lane tower. Odoam is holding the fort right there. Half HP inhib tower here, that's the cost of the play. Can Miffy arrive in time to stop this?
Well, he's gonna try, but he's only a bard up against a triple man push. Now Soaz comes in, be landing the hammer shock onto Jankos. He will be backing away, so they do prevent the tower from falling.
Used exhaust onto Jankos to try and mitigate the damage, and H2K have not backed away yet. They're still sticking in the lane, and Sven's been left alone to push up top. We've got a little bit of a duel going back and forth. Sven sidesteps out of the convergence, will channel the culling. Good damage onto Odo.
Yeah, and because H2K understood how important it was to tank these creeps, not let their own creeps take any damage, they had so many minions available after that tower went down that they punished the detour that Amazing took by pushing in towards the inhib tower. Little close call there. They actually end up ahead in gold overall with that tower trade because the bottom tower was defended, wasn't able to be rushed down 3v1. Well, at the other side of the map, it was 3v0. So we need to see if Origen can capitalize on their kill. Otherwise, H2K just came ahead smarter.
And macro play, early game, lane swaps, some calls from H2K, giving them the advantage for now. Unfortunate for Jankos. Some of the stats I was looking at, he'd actually been involved in 12 out of his team's first bloods in 18 games. This is the first one in a long time where he's not actually been around. First blood king of Europe, getting upstaged by Amazing.
Yeah, well, there's plenty more games in this series, so I'm sure he'll come back in the next ones, Trev, but we'll see how that goes. Amazing, he's just passing from one jungle to another right now. And H2K, so 3 towers to 1, definitely have the advantage in this game, but what they don't have the advantage in is the fan vote, because Origen are on 75%.
Local fans as well.
True,
Those
yeah. I'd be
Origin
scared if
cards.
I was up against those war chants.
But let's take a look at the tower. So outer turret top is still available for Origen to take. And currently Odo's gun up there to defend. 27 CS, he's got access to that chrono break, and Soaz still working towards the verdict. But Sven is shoving this tower in. A light breeze will knock it over shortly.
Yeah, well, the CS is pretty similar. Odoamne is about 3/4 of a level ahead due to the fact that he was defending, Soaz was group pushing. So Soaz looking to soak up some experience here, though, because Jankos is not in time here to punish him. So they should equal it out. I think we'll see a pretty stale mid-game here until it evens out and we see the laners go to the side lanes with the teleports and put the AD carry in the middle. Forgiven's building towards the Strider spike though, which means you'll have a lot of poke and really just good power spike for these little sieges.
Well, got Sven trying to recall, but Odoamne's going to get the interrupt, and there's so much damage coming out from the Z-Dried Revenant and the follow of the auto attack, so he's going to jump back with the Chrono Break, seeing the teleport come in, and that will answer with another cancel TP. Jankos now contesting this red buff over Amazing. Q does not land, and now he may be chased down. Red buff going over to Jankos, and he has the advantage with his team pushing up.
H2K are prioritizing these towers so intensely. Forgiven and Vanda not letting up on the minion wave. And Soaz fires the verdict just to defend or thwart any further push. H2K even out the gold, even though Origen got their top outer turrets.
Is it worth in that situation to actually use the Keeper's Verdict rather than just let it time out and then have the cooldown for later?
I mean, you could let it time out. Soaz just really wants to make sure that he can base.
Yeah.
Because in his head, he needs to get to that empty lane as soon as he can. Because one thing Origen did wrong or chose to do and were punished for was setting Soaz behind in lane sub scenarios. When there was big waves coming, very often Sven was given these waves, and then Soaz fell behind and he had no impact, and then obviously everybody and their mother was calling him a really bad player, but it was all due to resource distribution from Origen. At least I like that they're fixing it right now and making sure that he stays even with Odoamne on that Echo.
And the game is as even as it's going to be. Basically on gold, one extra kill for Origen versus the tower for H2K. The early stages of that lane swap has been played out almost equally. It's one focus on kills, one focus on towers, and that's already some growth for Origen, when truthfully they were quite far behind in terms of decision-making during the regular split, but obviously playoffs is a whole different beast.
Yeah, they played
the
ultimate standard play with the Rift Herald 4-man push on the bot lane tower. H2K was ready for that, decided to adapt. They were caught a little off guard though. I think that roam from Kindred mid could have easily failed if Ryu was just slightly more aware. But in playoffs, we see people punished for behavior that sometimes they get away with. Look at Cabochard in the Vitality series. He always pushed up and he got caught.
Well, Soaz pushing up, is about to get caught, stunned up by Odo. Jankos comes in, end of the line for some damage. Soaz is trying to get away. Flash is available, and he does over the wall, but successful gank by Jankos and H2K.
Just getting some of those summoners down. Odoamne is still a little bit down in gold, but he's going to have that minion wave to soak up right now. Mid lane engaged, Tempered Fate lands onto those minions.
Forgiven.
That was a really, really good Valkyrie.
That was really close, because if you get caught on the end there, obviously you'll get put into stasis. You'll have to flash, but the Blisandra ulti will follow you. So that is bold.
But it's
Perhaps.
Forgiven. He's got those reactions on that.
Yeah, perhaps. But I know if you hit Forgiven at the end there and he dies, you'll also have a reaction right there where he perhaps may be a little sideways.
Yeah.
Ryu trying to, almost got baited, but realized something fishy was up. Rift walks away. Rod of Age is completed for Ryu. That's starting to stack up. Abyssal for PoE, and Soaz and Oda just continuing to trade in the top lane. Vanda's going to be a little cheeky stepping forward, just getting some vision.
Yeah, both these teams are understanding their compositions though, 1-3-1, but the problem here is now we're starting to see why H2K locked in this Cassidy, because the longer the lanes get, And the later you get into the game, Cassin versus a mage that he gets counterpicked into will have the advantage. And here we see also why Echo slowly hitting that tier 1 status becomes annoying on longer lanes, has insane chase potential. So H2K in this 1v1 setup seem to have the edge. When it comes to just punishing a team fight, however, or a flank TP, that's where Origen have more raw CC that they bring to the table, and that's where they can punish H2K.
And let's see how accurately they pull that trigger once the game continues to play out. Some interesting itemization, which we'll touch on in a moment, because Odo's being ganked. He's got that Sheen, Bomby Cinder, and the Dark Seal. Amazing's coming in to put some pressure down. Flash is available for Odo. We'll find the shield from the Chrono Break. No stun. Amazing's going to carry on chasing.
Amazing's dealing a lot of damage here.
This might just be the kill, though. Amazing hops over the wall, tags the Grompin for some assistance, and just ran him down. No summoners blown on the side of Origen.
The Wandering Caretaker there with a Cosmic Binding just to pick up the assist as well. So everything coming up for OG.
Yeah, no teleport threat from Ryu, just to maybe even disincentivize people from backing off. Odoamne just found himself overextended. We're finally seeing these top laners getting punished by some jungle ganks because everybody else is holding the fort. And this is a really good opportunity for junglers to show their worth, because they need to look for these mini openings, whether they either force a flash, punish somebody backwards,
or punish Amazing, just trying to get into his jungle. Here comes Ryu from the side. Amazing decides to turn it around. It's Vander that's locked in. Double teleports. Here comes Origen. They're looking to pull that trigger, and the target's currently Vander. They found Forgiven, and they've taken him down. He's dropped on the back line. Follow-up kill onto Vander, and H2K are retreating. Origen are in trouble. The re-engage.
Oh, Lamb's Respite will keep Amazing alive. Ryu's in the circle as well, but there's 5 people around him. He's going to go down. Yankov's backing up behind the tower, and Odoamne will have to slunk away as well. Power of Evil thinking about going in, then realized he had 50 health. 3-0 over to Origen.
Fantastic reaction to Amazing getting caught here, and honestly just a fantastic team fight from Origen overall. Amazing gets caught here, immediate one teleport reaction, second teleport, Temper Fate buys time, and here, target calling. They immediately switch towards Forgiven, lock him down, and now we see the value of what these teleport picks bring on the side of Origen. They have a wealth of crowd control effects. Whereas H2K, they have some damage and chase, but they can't lock anybody down. And then when Ryu commits for Amazing here, he calmly uses that Lamb's Respite to buy even more time, and convincing teamfight victory for Origen. And honestly, this is the way they need to win the series, because if there's been one weakness from H2K overall, some say it's team fighting. For me, it's information sharing in clutch moments. Think of the teleport from Odoamne that should have came out when he was trying to end, or that came out when he could have ended the game. Think of the team fight they lost against Fnatic early in the split where Forgiven had no mana. Sometimes they always assume that they can outplay the situation, but find themselves, you know, outnumbered or just outgunned in terms of the crowd control department. And honestly, H2K probably should have been a little more careful.
I think you can argue both, because a lot of that also came down to like raw mechanics. And H2K usually win games by choking out their opponents, not going for those fights, going for the objectives over those kills. And when they're actually forced to go for a fight, it's like, actually, I'm not used to this situation. I thought I was going to kill their tower.
I'm talking about not being used to the situation. This is H2K's first game on stage in over 3 weeks. Seeing Odo overextended in the top lane, getting caught up for farm, that's a mistake that Soaz made multiple times during the split. H2K are down nearly 2,000 gold, down in kills, and another Rift Herald picked up by Origen.
Yeah, but Soaz is not making that mistake right now. Despite having absolutely zero vision, he wasted about 15 seconds of Yankos' time, not overextending to the point where he can get chased. H2K's approach to the game right now is matching Kassadin with Lissandra, Echo versus Poppy, and chasing down either of these picks, hopefully with jungle assistance in these long side lanes. Origen need to survive, pull the trigger, double TP, and win a fight with their crowd control effects.
Double TP is not available just yet. Will take a little while away. And H2K giving up all these kills before 15. It's the most kills they've given up all split long. Tempered Fate will hold Vander in place, and Yankos is trying to buy time with the smoke screen. Vander manages to at least class the Fisher, but Origen stacked a lot of ultimates, got the kill, and will follow up with the tower as well.
I mean, that's information sharing. Just straight up called out. Didn't realize there were 4 people just around the corner, and that's another pick over to OG.
Yeah, really good mastery of the 1-3-1 here. It seems that Xpeka has been teaching Origen as a team, because that was one of his strengths in previous seasons. It's just as a player overall, they're pushing up the side lanes and then somehow mocking mid outside of vision or outside of knowledge of H2K, and then using the Tempered Fate combined with Glacial Tomb. Again, you know, buying time when everybody moves close and just annihilates Vander here, while H2K is still stuck on the side lanes with no teleport.
And that's actually something Power of Evil specifically called out last week. He said that watching Peke scrim with the team, play with the team and train with the team, taught him a lot about how to look at the map, how to communicate. And, you know, we're starting to see some of the fruits of their labor.
I mean, our typecast, our stereotype of Power of Evil was that it was a mage player in the mid lane that couldn't play teleport mages.
Yeah.
And he always hit mid, never side lane. Now he whips out the teleport. Lissandra has done fantastic. Teleport was right. Target selection was right. Now he pushed up side lane and came in for the pincer and caught somebody out too with assistance of his team. Textbook play here, and honestly, Origen surprising.
I'm going to revisit the items as well, because amazing 4-0 and 2 in this game has 5 stacks on Kindred, and has gone for the Runeland's Hurricane, actually, before he goes for the defensive stats like the Sterix, very similar to a Graves build. So I guess he's just looking to hit multiple people on the front lines with Hurricane so he can get the stacks.
Just so much damage on the side of Origen that H2K can't even kill them all, let alone in time. And when you're ahead, you can actually spec into more damage and just blitzkrieg all over these fights.
Yeah. Sata Devourer completed already as well. Very, very good performance for Amazing. He saw the damage stats last week that we were poking some fun at, and has decided to prove everyone wrong.
Full damage, Infinity Edge.
Quick look, teleports are available on both sides. Odo's going to go toe-to-toe with Power of Evil, and Power of Evil actually fancies his chances, especially with the support coming up through the jungle. This could become explosive as Amazing has found Odo. A chrono break away from Odo, but he's caught!
He's a lot of ultimates down. Odo only gets the short end of that stick. Ryu will be backing away, flash away from the Tempered Fate. Suaz now comes into the fight as well. Ward over the wall, another fast kill to OG.
H2K is setting up the play, but Origen is the team reacting faster nonetheless here. Good adaptation here. They move over into the enemy jungle, use the magical journey to close some of these distances quicker, and then a control fight yet again. And Odoamne, he's kind of stuck in the wrong matchup here. He doesn't have any magic resistance, so he can't actually duel this Lissandra or chase her out alone. He needed assistance, but his team was slower than Origen here. Immediate, pull of the trigger again. So Origen on top of their game.
And it's definitely working out. 4,000 gold in the lead. 7 kills to 0. And of course, even out those tower trades from earlier in the game. Now, it is 20 minutes in. Ryu's almost got that Abyssal Scepter completed. We can see him pushing top lane. Odo's working towards that Sunfire Cape. Like, there is still some scaling and some time on the side of H2K, but they are down so much gold.
So, talking about expectations and people saying H2K probably going to be a fast series, 3-0, maybe 3-1 at best. Currently 7-0 in this game. Origen constantly getting his kills, Amazing in the jungle, constantly pushing up. And OG were like, or it was specifically Miffy was like, we have to play better than game 1 in that sloppy series we played, and so far they have been.
But yeah, that's the beauty for me for playoffs and having these teams prepare for a single opponent entire week with access to high-level league right before it. Teams just get better. And based on the evasion that we had of H2K as a whole, the way Origen played versus Unicorns, this game was projected to be 3-0. I'm pleasantly surprised because Origen have fixed many of their issues, and H2K are getting punished for some of theirs. The Greed, the Scassiden pick is so far not paying off. It also feels like one of those picks that does better in scrims than on stage.
The most exciting thing is we've potentially got 4 more games of this if H2K can rectify some mistakes. That, to be fair, before that can happen, Origen actually have to close the game out, and setting up vision around Baron. Look at those pinks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leading into the Baron pit. They've got deep vision in H2K's jungle. I think the Purple Worm is going to be a bait or a target on the side of Origen.
Yeah, obviously, Baron control is next on the agenda of any team that's ahead at this point in the game. Looking at the blue trinkets though, 1 blue trinket only available for H2K. Perfect vision control here from Origen. And not only, usually baiting a Baron if you're blue side is kind of hard because you can't punish with the wall in between. Magical Journey and Tempered Fate make that so much easier. It is much more perilous for H2K to face check here. Ice Cloud could come out, teleport behind you, Tempered Fate, Magical Journey on a weird wall. So many options here for Origen. They should be able to close out the bait in the next 2 to 3 minutes.
I mean, take a look at the vision control over the area as well. OG just went around the area, sweeped it. Now H2K needs to start walking up with 1 member, 2 members into the dark basically. And now Jankos is going up there trying to get some vision. But now he's already used his sweepers, so he's going to see some of these pink wards. But he's Graves, so this is going to be painfully slow to kill.
It certainly is. Origen didn't really stick around to defend their vision, so all of that pressure from earlier just slowed it down a touch.
Yeah, but they're refilling their sight zone at least, where Vander has to use his kind of to check into his own jungle. By the time he gets to the pit, it's on lower amount of wards. Mithy now has a full one that he can supplement his vision with again. Yeah, Origen need to keep buying pink wards though, because they just lost 3 of their pink wards on the setup. Yeah.
Gotta shop, gotta spend that gold. To the edge will be the next agenda, I assume, for Sven. He's got the Static Shiv, got Essence Reaver. Hourglass has been worked on for Power of Evil, and Ryu completed that Abyss a little while ago. So the arms race is continuing to grow, continue to scale. And Origin, they're still in control. They will pick up their first dragon of the game. Extremely easily, yeah. Eventually.
He knew he was going to die. Cool, the guys don't look at dragons when they're burning out from red buff.
They do lose complete control over Baron though, so H2K successfully bought some time here. It's their prerogative to keep pushing these side lanes right now. Keep the pressure on Origen. Don't allow them to get full control of Fog of War. So you have to face sick here. Switch to more blue trinkets. Odoane switch his one out. Second blue trinket available. So H2K now have to show us how good they are for playing from behind. We've seen them close out games, sometimes efficiently, sometimes throwing themselves at Baron.
Yeah.
Something else I'd like to keep track of as the series goes on, just because Amazing has had 100% kill participation in this game, and Analysts was saying how Jankos, good chance he'll just straight up outmatch Amazing, and this one, 0-0-0. Has not touched any fight, and has just been farming, trying to counter gang, trying to make things happen, clearing out vision, and Amazing has been so aggressive on the map.
I mean, two of the most changed players here. So we see Ryu come in for some poke.
Oh, a lot of damage traded back and forth. Amazing's going to heal up from the kits, and H2K back away.
Yeah, two of the most changed players, Power of Evil and Amazing, are also playing incredible power picks though in the current meta. Lissandra, TP, and Kindred have been phenomenal for a lot of teams across the board. Let's see how this picks adapt here. Mithy though.
Oh, magical journey through the flash. You thought it was a fail flash, but it's not with Bard. He's always going to get out. Also had the exhaust and the ultimate available, so he still has that if a fight opens out. Kind of annoying that he burnt the flash though.
Origen though, walking up as a support, blind into the jungle when your AD carries in the base. These are the type of things that we were criticizing them for. H2K aggressively punishing that whenever they can. Defend your jungle at all costs. That's their goal right now. That's the plan. Jankos again. He's been spotted though. Sweepers now reveal images, so you can check who's in that brush.
Amazing immediately backs away.
Who's that champion?
Yeah.
It's super effective.
Surprise, there's shotgun in your face.
Yeah, I was like, what? Why?
Jankos gonna try fancy a fight. The longer this game goes. 5 minutes now where Origen have maintained their gold lead, but been unable to pressure further, revisiting the vision game in and around Baron buff, and H2K gonna have to play defensive.
That champion was Jankos, and he wanted to peek at you.
It's actually a forgiven from above.
Amazing's gonna back away from the jungle. Still a little deeper, but got a lot of support coming in from behind. Amazing just going toe-to-toe with Odo.
Man.
That's scary.
That's rough. That changes a lot of dynamics here. When your jungler can go become a side lane bully, it just gives you more options here. Mithy, remember, he can make that tower invulnerable, not all attacks. Sets up very well for dives.
And trying to get this flank off from Power of Evil throughout the E real quick, but Odoane, he's always exclusively been itemizing armor in this game, and he still got bodied by Amazing.
Yeah, he really did. Take a look at the bottom lane. Ryu's going to pressure as far as he can. Has the teleport available. Origen are not letting up. They're set up on the inner top lane turret. Jankos gets chunked out, but no Sven. He's pushing out middle. Origen trying to apply pressure on multiple lanes. They may get some damage in a turret. Slightly slow response here from H2K.
Well, someone's got to do something about Ryu at some point, but OG are just pushing 4 people down the mid lane. Okay, now Sowers goes back, but Ryu just takes the bottom tower. Now he can go back, or he can carry on pushing and do what he wants.
Origen have failed to pull the trigger. They could have went to Baron to force at least some teleports and then reset the situation, build it all up again, and then get a teleport advantage. But right now they're trading towers. They're not even trading towers because Odoane is doing a fantastic job with some zoning parallel convergences to really get people away here. Amazing will finish it in the end. But in the end, it's about 3 minutes wasted. Towers traded evenly. Honestly, H2K in the last 3 to 4 minutes are pulling back ahead.
They haven't changed the game state in terms of next couple minutes as well, because they really need to burn that Ryu teleport, because now he just goes back bot lane with Soaz and chases him down in the long lane where he basically wins that matchup.
We could see Origen simply start the Baron and tell H2K call the bluff. Come at us. Power of Evil though.
Well, Power of Evil may get caught out. Has the ability to self-cast. No Hourglass yet. Will lock down Ryu. Sven's looking to get a kill. Rift walks away. Lose some ultimates, but Power of Evil survives with his life. And, you know, it's been 10, 12 minutes since the last double TP aggressive play. H2K have not made a mistake, but Origen are starting to wobble, starting to give opportunities to H2K.
Yeah, all the gears kind of have to turn in unison to really get that play going. Baron baiting, especially with the introduction of Blue Trinkets, is a multi-step process where if you fail at any of the steps, you go back all the way to square one. And that's what's happening here. Every time mid-the power of evil, somebody steps in the jungle, there is side lane pressure ignored, cast it in the bot lane. Every time that happens, Origen extend the game.
Miffy trying to clear out some of these wards, but 3 people are going to push him away from H2K. And now the Scuttler is up. Probably someone will secure that very soon. And Baron is still the contested objective on the map, and both teams are just like pushing back and pushing forth. Like the ebb and flow right now over Baron is just kind of causing this stalemate. But at some point, something will break.
Yeah, and that's either going to be Origen forcing H2K's hand, or alternatively being punished for trying to make that play. Well, Hourglass picked up for Power of Evil, has finally completed it. Ryu still farming his way up. Big items completed for Forgiven as well. 310 CS, Trinity Force, Eye Edge. What a Zeal. Looks like Sven is working his way towards the Bloodthirster. Looks like it.
Looking at late game though, some of these power dynamics change in the sense that Ryu will get access to start one-shotting some of these carries. And when he doesn't, there's obviously super tanky Jankos available that now can soak up more damage, so these kind of crowd control lockdowns will no longer result in one-shots. QSS out of Lissandra, Frozen Tomb. Ryu suddenly is too tanky. Oruamne can soak more damage and use parallel convergence to really buy more time. Suddenly, teamfights get a lot more tricky.
And I want to find out how Amazing plays those team fights, because at this point in the game, he's actually dealt around 33% of his team's damage. We've hit this a few times already. Last week it was 4%, but he didn't need to deal damage.
Yeah.
Now Amazing cannot afford to be out of position because of just how farmed and how fed he is on this Kindred. Still 100% kill participation.
I mean, it's role change, right? Like, Sven in this game, 0-0-5, like, he's got a lot of gold, but he's not in the same way that Amazing has been the carrier of this game. Now Baron has been started off, and you can see how much damage percent damage is just doing from Amazing and Soas by themselves. This has been watered, though, so there's a good chance that H2K will try and contest. OG will back away.
And the teleports are coming in. Power of Evil's going to arrive on the side lane. Jankos and Odo somewhat split. Also golden by the Tempered Fate. Amazing's in trouble. The Lamb's Respite comes down. Nobody's died just yet, but Ryu engages.
He comes in. He's looking to clean up, and Odo will get the first. A Kretner back to his team. And now Soaz is under attack. He will be chased down. Ryu, Vander, and Jankos have some great pushing potential, or chasing potential, rather. So good luck to Soaz. He'll need it because the Poppy Cops has already been used. But now he's actually getting back to Power of Evil and Sven, but not soon enough. He'll go down. 2 kills in favor of H2K, and the Baron is open, but they are very, very low. Origen tried to make the Baron play work, and it did not happen. H2K continuing to pressure on the mid, outer turret rather, and this will be their 5th of the game, closing that gold lead. Maybe OG starting to crack. H2K in these situations just got slightly further ahead, finding that punish. The 2-0, and it looked so good for OG as well in that fight because Power of Evil, he managed to get the ultimate off himself. They managed to get the Lamb's Respite, but Cassidy.
Yeah, Cassidy, and there's Ryu being caught by the Tempered Fate as he hops over the
fantastic
wall.
reaction here from Power of Evil. Just coming in here, but being stopped immediately, thwarted by H2K. If he dies there immediately before he self-casted ulti, he's very close. This fight is a complete slaughter on the side of H2K.
This is Soas dying here.
Yeah.
It'll take some time.
Eventually.
Yeah. I mean,
decent amount of damage once, Claw comes out, some shots, but
yeah.
H2K had very clearly won that fight.
Yeah, it's actually really annoying to chase a Poppy because she throws down the Hammer Shock, and because it stays, you get slowed and you take damage in the long chase, so sometimes that can be bad, but in this situation, this could be bad for Ryu.
And it really is. Locked down with the tomb, but managed to put enough distance that he's not in trouble. A teleport from Odoamne. This means Power of Evil could be the target. Takes a magical journey, Soaz gets away, and the Claw of Doom buys time for Power of Evil. Amazing, still alive. Lamb's Respite is available. Vander and Jankos, they're trying to set something up, but they're going to peel away.
But the problem with the entire Baron play, though, was, information and warding, and that ward over the wall here that Vander had placed, and one is similar right now, was actually bugged and was not be able to see. I went to check the fog of ward. The pink ward from Origen was not revealing the ward from Vander there. They thought they were doing a blind Baron, and H2K had complete control of the situation. So that's why some of these reactions from Origen were ill-advised, because they were operating under false sense of information. Teams were notified of this bug, though.
Yep, it is on them in this one, and Power of Evil, he's going to be going back to base. Bot lane now is pushing for H2K. And now Soaz will be going down there to find, so he does have the teleport.
The only member on the Rift that has teleport available, which will allow Soaz to at least make a play. The problem is, Origen had this fantastic lead. They danced around Baron for the better part of 15 minutes. And they're starting to become unraveled, starting to get spotted out, clearing out vision in the pit and taking a look at the mini-map. Soaz still not moving. He'll shove this wave in, slowly but surely if he can.
But there is still an advantage to OG in this situation because Soaz has the TP, Power of Evil was about to get his own TP, Odoame and Ryu do not have their own, so that will open something up in terms of how much they can do on the rest of the map. But H2K, if they just hold themselves back and try and defend, then they'll just draw it to the same situation we had maybe 5 minutes ago and then probably get another advantage.
I'm such a fan of this banner at command from Miffy. When you look at H2K, the only one that's really going to be able to reliably kill waves will be Yankos, and that's also going to be very close range, very careful. All the rest magic damage.
Yeah,
even Corki to an extent.
It's a good adaptation. In these team fights, you want to lock it, but the setup for these fights, you know, the pressure, how do you unlock some of these objectives, is by forcing people into side lanes when you are no longer there. Either you teleport away, you push up or you move away, or you put the banner minion there. It comes at the cost of, yeah, 200-300 HP shield in team fights, which can be the deciding factors, but it allows you to set up for more deciding plays where you can catch the enemy off guard.
Big guy in the mid lane. Power of Evil is going to pop the ultimate. The Lambs Spider's on top of him. He's invulnerable for now. Odoame now coming in. Power of Evil with the self-cast ult, but it doesn't really tag anyone with any damage. And now Soaz is being chased away. Odoame looking for the chase.
Ryu went golden, forced away now that he's exhausted. Soaz is still pinning people against the wall, but Vander's down. Amazing is taking him out. Continues his killing spree, looking for Ryu. Flashes forward, trying to get Wolf's Frenzy down and won't secure it this time. Odo's re-engaged with the Chrono Break, and that's Amazing's first death of the game. Sven, Power of Evil, trying to get through the Chrono Break, but Odoame still alive. He face dive forward.
Miffy's getting chased down now. Forgiven looking for this kill. The flash forward from Sven. He's going, and he's going big, but Ryu will shut him down. Odoame with a follow-up. Ryu with a nice force pulse will take him out. 4 for 2 over to H2K.
Yeah, extended team fight here. At the end, Ryu comes in with the home guard's teleport, completely cleans up, seeing some of that late game damage. The start, however, was H2K slightly caught off guard again by the combination of Lancer Spite and the Frozen Tomb here. The engage here, good parallel convergence. Power Evil gets almost annihilated, but Amazing saves him with the ulti. Then Power Evil self-cast the ulti, so buying time over and over and over while Soaz is dealing with Yankos in the back line. Ryu goes in, he gets punished eventually, then has to retreat, but it's really smart for him to get out of the fight later on, base, and then teleport in with home guards.
And we have to cancel that as the Baron is being threatened. Power of Evil is only up in 20 seconds. H2K, they're sticking around. Soaz and Miffy against H2K. Tempered Fate is going to buy a lot of time. 15 seconds before PoE is up, but the Baron should be secured by H2K, and it is safely, all hopping over the wall. Taxi for Stand behind me, and H2K, they regain control.
Yeah, it was impossible for Origen to even contest that Baron or stop it. Soaz on his own doesn't have enough damage, and a good Bard Braum shield can just destroy the projectiles from Bard. So, in essence, it was kind of a waste for Origen. Really hard for them to have the overview overall, though, but I think what we need to look at is how did we get to this position? Origen were 4,000, 5,000 gold ahead, but they couldn't pull the trigger due to some really good defensive movements from H2K. Push spot lane, push top lane, challenge vision in your own jungle. Don't allow to be choked out the same way H2K likes to choke out their own victims. And they held down, and now late game, we see the power of this Castle and the power of this Echo in long sustained fights with repetitive engages.
Yeah, you can see the damage from that very extended team fight, how Forgiven was able to put a lot down. Ryu with the re-engage, 1,000 more than PoE. Even Odo soaking up, but just the amount of time he bought with that Chrono Break gave H2K all the tools they needed to close that gold lead. And with Baron stats, they're now arguably ahead in terms of actionable combat stats.
Yeah, surprisingly large impact. Honestly, would have to see the fight again with a focus on Forgiven to see how exactly he racked up so much damage. Obviously, he's a master of positioning well in fights with Corki. He also has access to a champion that can poke reliably, safely, and then choose to go in, maybe to go for a target. He has 4 damage items right now. He's hitting pretty nasty spikes.
I think it's a good big picture again because this is what's going to have ramifications as we go through the rest of the series. You can kind of pinpoint that situation where OG didn't pull the trigger. Caston was pushing down the bot lane. They had a chance in mid lane or top lane to pull the trigger, and they didn't.
Yep.
Is that something that's going to happen for the rest of the series? Something we'll have to keep track of where they get the advantage early game, but they're also not guaranteed to get that advantage in every single game.
But it also shows you the power of double teleport, because no other split pusher, like, it just gives you twice the options. You can send 2 people to different lanes to do that entire thing. It just gives so many flank opportunities and room for failure here.
Yeah, it was good because Azir was also banned from H2K, so it's hard for OG to go Azir and then try and execute the same strategy. To be fair, we've seen a lot of teams fail at utilizing the Azir in the correct way, but if they are able to execute it, great, but they weren't given the option to do it in the first place.
Yeah, if you play the Azir, you become a 3-1-1 kind of team, the same way Origen kind of played against the Unicorns, which is a lot more tricky to play because Azir can't leave the mid lane to go to the side lane because he doesn't have access to the teleport. Isn't a really good TPing into teamfights either, that's why he's not running said teleport. So having your 3-man squad on the side lane limits your options.
Origen are starting to run out of options, Crepo. Despite having a minor gold lead, they are down. With that Baron buff, they are now falling deeper into the territory. This is the first time we've seen H2K pushing very aggressively in literally 20 minutes. We're approaching 40. We are very late into the game, itemization-wise. 4, 5 items starting to be completed for the carries.
Yeah, they win the push in mid in terms of pressure. Of course, they're not sieging, but like they're winning the pressure in mid with that Baron buff. In duels, the later you go, the harder Cassidy will beat Lissandra in a 1v1 duel, especially in the long lane. Echo is also hitting, 4 item spike. The general build for Echo is that Iceborne Gauntlet into Sunfire. If you play heavy into Magic, we've seen Spirit Visage rushes. What I like the most is you get a Spectre's Cow, then go for Iceborne, then your traditional tank build. He's now added the randomins to that equation, so again, go in, poke, proc your passive, get out again, in again. Like this E cooldown is hitting such low numbers overall. Every 4.2 seconds, Odoamne can phase dive either in or out of a fight and just, proc that passive.
So many different tools available to H2K in these team fights, and after that first fight, it seems like they've just gotten a good grasp of what all of those are and how to execute them in these fights, as well as just having the best positioning, starting up these fights as well.
And you have to credit H2K. They fell down 5,000 gold by 16, 17 minutes. They were able to play passive and not be caught out of position, which would have given Origen opportunities on towers or Baron. And yes, Origen were not very aggressive in pushing that 5,000 gold lead, but you have to give some credit to the defensive play, to not making further mistakes, to not hemorrhaging more leads.
They played on the edge of the danger zone because Mithy was always looking for Tempered Fates here. That's the way they got ahead. Tempered Fate, Flying Teleport, crowd control effects. Right now they're facing the jungle though. Little cheeky stun from Odoamne. So this is what they do well. Right here, this area, so many teams yielded. It's like, I walk in, put vision. No. H2K in. No access for you guys. Show me your credentials. You're not on our team. Get the hell out of here.
Well, there was that small period where OG had the TP advantage, but H2K, they just stalled over the last like 2-3 minutes, and now the TPs have come from Ryu and Odoamne. Now we're going to see the 1-3-1, where they have these great carries in these long lanes, where they should be able to just poke them down. They're going to have a trade here, and Ryu will back off.
Still going to be an explosive fight, though, because neither of these side lanes is going to break open a tower. It's all about push vision, push collapse. So the end game fight will either be one guy getting completely caught out of place, which hasn't really happened that much later part of the game. So it will be an explosive fight, and with the right damage layering, there is a scenario where Forgiven just gets blown up and suddenly Origen wins.
And regardless of who gets caught, that's it. We're 42 minutes in. Death timers will be 50 seconds plus. Look at the mini-map. You can see Soaz chasing Ryu out of the jungle. Jankos, I thought, was sniffing around, but it may have just been to get some wards down. Continuing to scale up. Quite a damage build here from Jankos. Not going, hyper tanky, but you get a lot of that hidden tankiness from Phantom Dancer. He's got himself a Lost Whisper as well. So I think it's fair to say non-traditional Graves build.
Yeah, it's more similar to the top lane Graves build, where you go Death Stance as well. And I'm not sure if he maybe has a last item, but he might want something defensive like a Scare Axe. Now going towards the Mortal Reminder, or rather the Lord's Dominic's Regard in this one. So yeah, it's more similar to the top lane build, but he's looking for more damage on this team because you have a tank Echo, and Ryu as well is needed sometimes to scale up.
It's just a really good dueling build. Phantom Dancer, the later we go in the season, the more play it sees. It's really good in these one-on-one scenarios where you're kiting away. And Graves, it obviously stacks up that true grit in fights. So every time he uses his E, he gets a charge, and then he can stack it up every time again over time. So you really want to long fights with multiple dashes in for him to get super tanky in your face, become a menace to deal with, and then Mao procs, and then suddenly you have lifesteal added to that.
Origen are starting to bare their teeth, sticking around multiple members in that top quadrant of the jungle, trading some damage back and forth onto H2K, and not the greatest amount of vision, but there's a couple of wards there. Ryu's yielded some positioning on the bottom lane. He's backed away, and with Forgiven, holding on to the package for the next few minutes. Baron is up. Dragon will be up in 30 seconds. It's 2 apiece. Oh, the Baron dance is on.
Yeah, Mithy and Amazing have the most important roles in the next team fight. Mithy can create a divide, make it a 5v3. For example, if he gets Tempered Fate on 2 targets, it will no longer be used to buy time for them to, like, you know, we're looking at you, now you're going to get blown up. No, it's just 2.5 seconds, suddenly they're out of the fight. And you can turn your attention to other people. Amazing. He, again, with Lance Respite, he can buy so much time on his own too, that maybe H2K will overcommit.
I think with that Lamb's Respite and the Tempered Fate, that might be why Mithy's also opted into this Rot Portal. It's going to continue to put some pressure on that side lane, as we've mentioned multiple times. It's vision, it's pressure, then it's looking for the double TP to create the opening.
Yeah, Power Reveal seems a little afraid to go side lanes, so Mithy is holding his hand. It's like, you can't do it, I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Looks at me.
I'm
split pushing right now.
It's those imaginary friends we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, you know?
Yeah. Put them in the side lane. And that means that Power Reveal can stick with the team, and instead of having to teleport in, the entire channel go off and find a pick, it's now instant. Flash ulti. E-flash ulti, whatever you want. Any combination. He's constantly with his team. Look how scared he is.
Why not? One mistake, one pick can determine the game. Items continue to stack up 45 minutes, and it is just a pretty typical European Baron dance. It's going back in time. But vision is primarily what these teams are fighting over.
Yeah, but well played by both teams, honestly. Like H2K, they're playing it right. They don't need to go for a fight. They can wait until OG get itchy and then go for a fight, and then they counter. And like we've seen, once you want to bail out as OG, you're going to lose someone. Someone's going to have to sacrifice themselves to allow people to survive. And now we're just getting into a little bit closer. Both teams just posturing.
Feel the tension building though.
Yeah.
Forgiven landing, a good amount of poke. Ryu is always lurking on the side as well whenever they're gathered in the mid lane. And look at Odoam is already in the bottom lane. Origen's group right now, so they're kind of forced to make a play, whether it's vision dominance or just starting the Baron that has respawn. So right now we're seeing a repeat of what happened with Castle bot lane earlier.
Oh man.
Just a push from Odoamne. Origin have about 30 seconds, or they need to send somebody down. Mithy.
Yeah, it's almost a carbon copy of what we saw earlier on, and they can't pull the trigger. Now there's a push in the bot lane. Do they send someone faster this time? Yes, they do, and this time it's going to be Power of Evil, so he'll have to make the teleport play.
Yeah, and he's got to make sure he does it quickly enough. No room for error in timing. No mistakes.
He went to the bush
That's
immediately.
it. Yeah. Tells you so much about
So yeah, and we see
mindset.
We see the evolution too, because Power Reveal right now doesn't see anything. Now he sees that wave arrive, and look where Odoam is already. He has moved to the mid lane. So that's what split push has turned into. It's no longer moving to the tower and poking it down. It's just shove that way, force somebody to react, get a numbers advantage, use that to get some pressure on the map.
And talk about paranoia of evil. Look at him. He's just like standing at the tower. He's like, oh, I could go for this main wave, but there could be an echo in that bush.
If you talk about vision, he has no vision whatsoever.
Yeah.
His team is starting the Baron though, so in case somebody goes for power, they get Baron, and look at it, it's going down quick.
50% of the HP is already taken down. Origen don't stick around for a potential engage. Odo's running in. He's teleported. So that is at least one of those summoners caught. Amazing is now caught up. Tempered Fate will buy time as Amazing flashes away. He's held on to Lamb's Respite, and Power of Evil has not left the lane.
The right idea, but poor execution here for Origen. So they operate under the assumption that if Power Evil gets ganged up on 2v1, they rush Baron down. Good. It buys him time and gives him access to clear the wave. But then they split up when they run away from the Baron, and Amazing finds himself caught out just a little bit. He's forced to use Summoners and Tempered Fate. Overall, though, they have a teleport advantage now. The problem with double TP match is that you need to do this twice. So you then end up one teleport ahead, then you need to set up another play within those 5 minutes, and then you can you can win the advantage.
I'll be honest though, there's a lot of clenching going on. It's just like, if someone drops so low that they die, then the game just ends. But they managed to do it just in time, so they did get the get Odoamne's TP, and now they go for Baron again, so they have to either get that other TP or a fight just opens up.
Ryu has started the teleport. Power of Evil's waiting in the river. Hammer's Keeper's verdict. Rift walked away. Baron's been stopped, and Jankos will get some vision from the Scuttler.
Amazing
Power's
stole it.
left alone over on the side lane, so that's going to be useful for Amazing if they can sneak back into the jungle.
Honestly, it's really important right now. That's Scuttle Grab vision. Yes, you can do Baron over the wall, but you find yourself trapped like kind of sardines here. Odoamne used the E, so he has to ulti out.
Pretty big cooldown. H2K, no teleports, no chrono break. Origen still have access to both.
42 seconds right now.
Eh,
on that.
Go Origin, go! I think it's more important that
TikTok
Ryu
says the clock. Yeah.
I think it's more important that Ryu teleported in and Origin were able to successfully disengage.
I completely agree. Double teleport advantage, but Origen have had a 5,000 gold advantage too, and they failed to pull the trigger. What can they do right now, knowing that they have double TP up? There's no flash in Amazing though.
Oof. Yeah, a lot of people just kind of dropping low from OG, almost getting caught but then getting out. But they've also had a situation where they've had the double TP advantage and not being able to pressure it. Now they're going back to it once again. They have Power of Evil in the bot lane, and they're going to try and make it happen.
Yeah, the second Ryu shows, we will see an instant engage. So right now, H2K is actually looking to force a fight, to get Power of Evil to join, instead of waiting for him to push. Package is available too for Forgiven. That could be the mini teleport, or just a fight forcer.
Fight Forcer, engage is what H2K will be looking for. 550 CS in 49 minutes for Forgiven. The last kill was secured 14 minutes ago. And one more kill could end this game. We're approaching 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And these teams, nobody wants to make a mistake. Like
Mithy moving to the bottom lane, build your own split push. And we build it.
Yes, we can. Well, he got it, and now it's pushing. So good job. A lot of the defensive abilities as well on such low cooldowns, like Saz, he charges up the ultimate, and then he doesn't cast it. Low cooldown. Odoamne, 42 seconds on Chrono Break, like he had to use it earlier. It's already back up.
Yeah, when your ultimates have a shorter cooldown than your death timer, that's when you know you've hit late game.
Yep.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. Odos doesn't have a lot of wiggle room when it comes to itemization. Thornmail completed. So it's going to make Sven and Amazing's life just
have
a little
have
more
fun right now.
difficult.
If you're Sven right now and you see Odoamne coming from behind you somewhere and you don't know where the parallel conversion is going to drop, enjoy your gameplay. It is so annoying to be AD carry into Echo right now.
All right, build your own split push, doing work down bottom. That's 2 cannon minions, one of them buffed up by the banner of command.
And the other cannon minion generally for Origen is in the top lane right now. Soaz looking to split push. Look at that, picture in picture.
That is, that's meta right there. Can we name him? Oh no, he's got to be Baroned up, right? Before we name him. Yeah.
Listen,
Okay.
don't step on toes. Yeah, Crepo is the only one
Yeah,
that can
yeah,
name
yeah.
those guys.
Really? Oh,
Yep,
okay.
yep.
So I have left, man. Mithy gets
That was dirty.
It's not over yet. Amazing gets forced away. Soaz is sticking around on the top lane. Remember, no teleports for H2K. Odos has just become available.
Ryu out of mana, low mana, so no more ultimates available. He's gonna base. The teleport is shy.
Yeah, but look at the bottom lane as well.
Both of the cannon minions are pushing. You've got Soaz on the top lane. He's going to be taking this one down. Bottom lane is going to be taken out as well if no one deals with it.
The towers are secured. Ryu's got half his mana bond. Should be able to chase Soaz down. Riftwall comes out. Soaz gets away. Parallel conversion. It's not enough. Ryu survives. Look at the bottom lane. Power of Evil shoves the tower in.
Major mistake from Ryu. You never use your Q on a target with teleport because it interrupts channels. It no longer silences, but you can stop the teleport. Creative use there from Soaz. He would have gotten chased down there, so that's a very smart play by Soaz.
2 teleports used from Origen. Yes, they've opened access to the inhibitors, but now H2K have the teleport advantage for the next few minutes.
Yeah, but they're looking to not even use that. They're going for an early Baron here. H2K, this is how they've thrown games before, not having patience when it comes to this Baron play, because no, they can't even use their teleports here. They're going for a rush. Big teamfight coming.
51 minutes. It all comes down to this, maybe. Soaz, he knocks 2 people out. It's going to be everyone versus 2 people.
Got it!
Oh, Amazing takes down the Baron, and now Odoamne, he jumps back with the ultimate Power of Evil in his own.
The Baron's not enough. Ryu is caught. Mithy tags him with the Cosmic Binding. They're trading kills back and forth. Tempered Fate locks up Forgiven as well as Odoamne, but so is re-engaged. Mithy's on the front line. Sven's doing work. He's already killed Vanda. Follow Sven's HP. He's down. H2K may have won it.
Mithy's the only one alive. Triple kill, quadra kill for Forgiven. 4 and 3. H2K come up with the advantage.
H2 what? H2 throw almost in that Baron pit. They had double TP set up. They could repeat what they started before. Cast it in the side lane, Odoamne wherever he wants, and then they could have just simply isolated that Baron. Instead, they go for a rush, and they go for a very close team fight here. If that's stun, double stun in the end from Mithy connects, this is a completely different game.
Forgiven and Odo have 35 seconds to put some pressure on the base. This should result in maybe an inhib tower. Mithy,
They'll definitely get inhib.
no banner of command yet. He'll try to put some pressure down. He's trying to buy as much time as possible.
I will have Temper Fate soon. I think they'll just get inhib here, and then they'll have to back off for the Nexus towers.
Odoamne just zoning away right now. Actually, maybe doing a lot of damage.
Hey, late game memes.
Yeah, does a lot of damage.
Even doesn't care though.
He's just going to take this tower, take the inhib, and they'll back away.
So H2K, they won the team fight. They got 4 kills despite losing 3. Tempered Fate ultimate given in place.
Too early.
But
Doesn't matter.
nothing really to follow up, even though Amazing is just coming out of the base.
Look at the target on Forgiven as well. Amazing just instantly targets him as soon as he comes alive. Amazing flashing after, going on to Forgiven. I mean, he's by himself. Now Miffy's backing him up, but Vander's also come back from base. That was a thing.
Origen, showing some signs of panic here. Obviously, this is something you can't scream for, because no scream goes to 94,000 gold equal. Somebody either tilts or throws or FFs before that. Here we going. Good opening from Soas. Knocks 2 people out here. The steal on the Baron. Let's watch this fight. Jankos goes down in the back. Soas doing great work. Keep your eyes on Sven. Cosmic Binding here. It poks on Ryu. Then Ryu jumps. Then he connects with the wall. That's why Ryu gets stunned here. And does Sven go in too deep here? Jankos super low. Miffy's looking for the angle on the double stun, but doesn't quite get it because Braum at least soaks up 1. And we have another fight.
We have to jump back. Odo's Chrono Break defensively. H2K under some pressure as Origen were pushing forward. Ryu's teleported in behind the retreating members of Origen. I think they may be able to get away. They're stacked very tightly as a 5-man unit. And H2K don't chase further. 100,000 gold has just been passed by Origen, and they are the ones not in control. My word, at that team damage.
Look at that Zeke's from Mithy. Usually you don't see Zeke's anymore because 80 carries run either 70 or 80% crit builds. But when you have an 80 carry jungle that doesn't incorporate that much crit in his build, you can give a lot of that to Amazing right now. So he's doing even more damage here.
Here comes the push down the mid lane. OG just trying to get a bit of damage. Ooh, Sven, he just want to go too far forwards. He maybe gets punished for it. He just wanted to hit the tower, but now Forgiven will pick up that first kill. Ryu gets the second onto Power of Evil. Amazing split it from the squad. What's he going to do? Jump into the base, buy some time. That's going to be a third kill going over to H2K. That was disastrous from OG. Another kill onto Miffy, and it all ends like that. That's depressing.
A desperate play from Origen in the 53rd minute. Soaz will have a very, very long run for his life.
Run!
We will keep an eye on this as in the middle lane, H2K are pushing forward.
Yeah, Soas at this point, he's in a game where you want to die or buy enough time so your KDA doesn't get lowered before the Nexus blows or your team forfeits. But right now, H2K looking to close. And honestly, tenacious defense in the mid game, but they end up getting 1 Nexus tower down. Soas gets his GA popped. And this game.
It is over. H2K dug deep, defended the deficit, and pick up the first win in the best of 5.
Yeah, honestly, solid play from both teams, but H2K just more solid. And that's kind of what we expected. A lot of people expected that H2K would be more consistent in the end. Yes, the early game was not good. There were some mid-game decisions that went awry, but
I mean, there was
ultimately Origen just weren't able to pull the trigger at the right times.
There was that pivotal Baron though with that with that ward over the wall. That kind of made the game incredibly tricky. That kind of put a damper for me on the game overall. But I like what Origen brought to the table in the early game.
Yeah, but the problem is they had that fantastic lane swap, that fantastic lead, but then it stalled out. It really... You could really feel the pressure because they spent 15, 16, 17 minutes setting up wards and then literally just running away. They didn't go for the, the Tempered Fate tower dives. They didn't go deep enough to press that lead.
Yeah, they should have went back and just forced the Baron Star to get the TPs out. They did that a little later on.
Yeah.
Especially when Power of Evil was stuck on the bottom and they really understood, hey, what if we start Baron here for some TPs reset or at least give him access to that wave by either we lose Power of Evil and get Baron or he gets the wave and we can disengage for free. So both teams are really adapting their gameplay. H2K played with more respect for the Tempered Fate too. No more random catches here.
Yeah.
Playing at the edge of Fog of War, constantly challenging vision, very tenacious overall. Surprised that they came back in. Yes, Caster in the late game, fantastic pick, but we saw some of the weaknesses of having no crowd control in teamfights versus H2K in the early game.
We also saw individual players turn up though. Like Amazing and Power of Evil did play better. Yes, you called it. They had champions, which facilitates that very
doesn't matter.
easily.
Good
but
pick and ban.
hey, if you do it, you did it in the end. But Origen, I think what this has displayed is they are standing up to H2K more than we maybe expected. Yes. And I think we'll have a much closer series on our hands than we probably thought.
I certainly hope so, because that was an exceptional game 1. 55 minutes it took for H2K to pick up the win, and it was 1 pick at the end. I certainly hope the analyst desk takes a look at it. Let's head over to them now.
Thank you so much, Trevor. Well, we are going to start by taking a look at what decided a lot as well, that Baron, and in the end, Forgiven saving everything there for H2K, or it was more of the other interactions in the team as well. We're going to start and get that up straight on the screen, because if you look at this, there are a lot of mistakes that can possibly be made. But what is the one decision that tilts it for you guys? Let's play it out.
So in the end, it's obviously on, Sven and Mithi. This is a good start though from Origen. Perfect ulti from Source, knocking 2 guys out of the pit. They even steal the Baron formation. So right now, we're yelling like they're winning this. They are winning this at the moment. Ryu gets taken down very early. Now it's up to these 2 guys, Sven and Mithi. I think Sven right here, he's just A-clicking on the stun targets, so his champion will move to the targets instead of actually standing out of range from them. So he gets in too close, gets jumped, he dies. I think Origen had that fight in the back.
The thing is, Origen should have never had to fight at that point for that Baron and get put in that position because of the early game. Now, there were a lot of things we wanted to talk about, especially as we see there the guys talking as well. By the way, that must be super interesting right now because we know that they have this situation where they can bring in a possible other mid laner, but it isn't that OG played that bad. It isn't that Power of Evil played bad. And we wanted to take a look specifically at the lane swap because H2K did what they do. They do fantastic in those situations.
Yeah, I think in this lane swap, you just see like from both sides how they play out. It's just the normal second trade.
Yeah, for now it looks normal, but then this is a big thing with Echo. Echo is one of the only top laners who offers range wave clear. And the reason it becomes important, Sheepy, is something you were looking at a lot. And we just see the tower go down. And then we gotta talk about what Origen is actually doing and why it's important, Sheepy.
Yeah. Just here what you see is that OG is spending their tempo on the Rift Herald and doing the Rift Herald. And meanwhile, bottom side Echo hears the Rift Herald dying and just pushing out the wave. And he gets actually 1 more wave. So H2K top side has 1 more wave to work with, are faster. And they use it really smartly, so they just keep pushing and they actually have the tempo now.
And not only that, something we didn't catch on this is as this bot wave push is coming up, Echo actually Qs the wave 3 times before it pushes up to tower. It slows them down, and yes, there is this mid lane dive here by Amazing. But keep in mind, Amazing had the Rift Herald buff there. And if Amazing had been with his team on the bottom side, they would have been able to even up the push. Now, what Origen made a conscious choice of there is, do you fall into the trap that Fnatic played against Vitality last week and allow the Kassadin just to scale up, which inevitably ended up happening? Origen were like, no, let's put the pressure on the Kassadin instead of the lane swap. And it didn't actually end up making that much of a difference for them.
It's just important we look at a lane swap like this and we respect the decisions being made for H2K in this case, because so often people will look at a lane swap and say, oh, they both get 2 towers, cool, move on. And they don't look at all the small things. Because they have Echo and because Origen got to push in the bottom side, before this push even started from Origen, when Sven came to bot lane, he'd already cleared out the wave with the Echo Q twice. He knows, okay, it's a very small wave now, so he stays on bottom side to defend on top because he knows he can sit on the tower, land 1 more Q, 2 more Qs, and it breaks the wave from Origen. So when they think they have enough time to take that tower and trade tier 2 for tier 2 without Rift Herald, because they value the gank over it, they realize, oh, we can't, because he already killed out the wave. And H2K knew that, and that's why they can go for that play. So it's small things, but it's very, very impressive.
Small things, very impressive, and to be expected from H2K, and knowing that OG wouldn't control that perfectly. But then something happened, which you guys had also foreseen. A 3-0 for OG when they were actually at the disadvantage by forcing H2K into a team fight. We're going to take a look at that replay. And these are some of the things that we had criticized H2K on in the split.
Yeah, we came into this series talking about H2K's team fighting. I think this one is almost Vander and Ryu disrespecting what Bard offers in this situation. With the double TP, they isolate Vander here, and it allows now, as this fight splits up, Power of Evil comes in, locks people down, and Origen just have a better comp for fighting this early. The Kassadin wants to scale. The Echo, as a tank, has his base damages, but isn't strong enough to survive in this situation. Origen just have the better tools.
Sheepy, as a coach, when you see your Kassadin engage in early team fights, what do you say to your Kassadin?
I say go back to your side lane and farm and push. He shouldn't be fighting there this early. Like the jump in with the Bard ultimate was really, let's say, a little bit overextended. But honestly, like I think that from both sides we just saw not the most immaculate games. I think that OG could have pushed their early game advantage. Maybe when they kill mid lane, rotate there as well, get a turret. I think that H2K try to put fights when they want to scale up, and then in the end, the game ended in a way it shouldn't be. Like it should have either way ended from the early game being snowballed by OG winning, or H2K by split pushing and the Kassadin being so strong, and in the end it just ends up with the Lucian. And I think that's also what Paul said in the game, where that's kind of like a bitter tone, a little bit frustrating to end like this. But overall, I think it's really great that we have such a long series, so now you can actually learn from those.
Yeah, H2K also has, out of the top 4 teams, the longest average game time. They know what to do in moments like this, although we have seen them giving it away as well. But if we look back at what we had expected from OG, and if we're looking at growth, when they started to slow down, when they had that advantage, we could all feel it was about to go wrong.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, first of all, when there's a Kassadin in the game, you always follow the Kassadin levels. Get him to 16, rank 3 ulti, and he becomes an absolute monster. Echo as well he's broken.
Yeah.
Like, he is insanely strong right now. So we knew the late game was in favor of H2K. But I was surprised, as you said, Sheepy, to see Origen struggle to push the advantage when I actually felt like with this double TP composition, they had so many ways of doing it. One thing we were highlighting, obviously, is that whenever they were pushing a wave to the tower, you normally want to run straight down the enemy jungle, so you get quickly to the next tower and start pushing it in. They kept running like backwards, around the jungle a little bit, near the Baron, and it kept delaying them and they lost waves.
But they had to in certain situations, because you'd see Power of Evil stepping forward, have to use his ultimate to get himself out of danger. And suddenly, once all of these tools aren't available for Origen to keep the tempo up, that's when they have to back away and retreat basically all the way back to their side.
We almost have to move on. I just want to give you a bit of information or ask you, if you were the coach or if you had the opportunity to switch in X2K, would you do it after game 1 or not?
No, I wouldn't. I would go for another game with Power. But honestly, their rotations were not as